Welcome back to another strange and mysterious podcast.
That one sounded like it hurt.
Hey, that was painful.
You pulled that from deep, bro.
Think I got a hernia.
Yeah, you better get a hernia check because that one was pulling. You're pulling from deep.
Because it's hot. That's what it is. Son of a bitch.
It is hot. I'm cooking over here. I might take my shirt off by the end of this.
Oh, shit.
For all the ladies in the house.
Hey, they're gonna be like, "There's a werewolf sighting on the podcast."
Yeah, you're gonna look at the deets in the YouTube, right? You know how you can forward just a spot in a. You can forward from that spot and you can link it. You're gonna see the eyes on the thing. You're going to be able to tell where Matt took his shirt off. You're going to see it. You're going to see it like a mountain, a huge spike of views, and then it's going to drop. You got to check out this.
That was the moment right there.
That was the moment. They're going to be, this motherfucker's fine.
And they just keep replaying it over and over again.
Good to be back. Good to be back, G.
Defy 999. Hey, he is never without some of the greatest interludes, interjections of all time. You gotta love them.
I don't know about that.
All right, so today I thought we'd take it like old school, right? Did you ever watch like Ghost Hunters back in the day?
All the time.
Hey, that used to be like one of my favorite shows back in the day, and they had some cool ass evidence.
Yeah.
So today I thought we would do a review of some of the best scenes from Ghost Hunters. What do you think?
I like it. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right.
They were kind of the first.
No, I agree. They're some of the first ones. All right, let's do it.
The long-running sci-fi and A&E series Ghost Hunters follows the TAPS team as they investigate paranormal activity of all kinds, using all kinds of different...
Hey, they were trying to tap that ghost ass.
They were going to tap that ass with all their equipment, of course.
Right. Hey, in a spiritual sense, of course.
In a very spiritual sense, they were going to tap that ass.
Hey, hallelujah.
That ghost didn't know that it wanted it. Didn't know it needed it, but it did.
Hey, he's like, is that an alien? I got probed? Oh, shit.
Yeah, no shit. You saw my picture of me and my son in Roswell?
Oh, I did. I saw that.
It's like, we got probed in Roswell, and I did a text. I was like, you'd think we'd be real happy, but, I was looking forward to it, and then the experience happened, and it was quite invasive and violent.
Right?
It wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be.
Usually E.T. buys you a drink first.
Yeah, buy me a drink first, or put me under some cool alien spell where I'm in like in where my brain's just going through like absolute pleasure or some kind of coolness. But nah, it was cold, invasive, and violent. Wasn't pleasurable at all.
Hey, the posters definitely lied about that shit.
Yeah, they did. Come get probed. You'll love it.
Let's see what's going on.
Different equipment to detect specters in the dark. Here are some of the creepiest moments in the TV show's history. The Atlantic Paranormal Society, or TAPS, often differentiates between different types of hauntings and breaks them down into three categories:
he was a
the
funny
residual,
one. From Ireland.
the human, and the non-human. During the episode Irish Ruins, the team believes they're dealing with the latter. TAPS is called out to the ruins of Lachine Castle in Ireland due to its haunted history. According to historian Joe McGowan, who appears on the episode, the castle was cursed by a widow that the castle's owner had evicted from her home. Since then, the Lachine ruins are believed to be haunted by fairy spirits. These aren't the cute creatures of today's stories, but rather the older, more dangerous spiritual entities of Irish folklore. Throughout the investigation, the crew experiences several eerie happenings. While recording in the castle's basement, Dave Tango and Dustin Perry hear footsteps walking across a wooden floor. Except there aren't any wooden floors in the ruins. Then, Brian Harnois takes an ethereal whack to the finger while explaining how the place is believed to be the fairy's home gives off seriously creepy vibes. The activity begins to amp up when a local friend of the TAPS crew, Barry Fitzgerald, sees a disembodied face flash out of the darkness. The investigator chases the face into the ruins but finds nothing. Fitzgerald takes this as a spectral warning and decides to remove himself from the investigation before the other shoe decides to drop.
Oh, what a little pussy.
It sounds to me like they're probably dealing with a type of entity that's probably not like human per se, probably more like a spiritual type of like earth-made type of ghost, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, they're talking about like fairies and stuff like that, and they're pretty famous for leprechauns, of course.
Yeah.
So it's probably dealing with some type of entity in that way, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say, because it doesn't sound to me like and they didn't look all that scared either.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always kind of felt that, I don't know. For me personally, I think that I would feel, if you were in that kind of situation, that if it was an entity and not a paranormal ghost, a dead human, that there might be a different feeling. I think I would feel more excited if I felt like there was an energy there that wasn't human, right? I would feel more excited. And I've always felt that if I was in an investigation where it really felt like it was a person that was there, that for whatever reason, for me, I think that's scarier. I think I would feel more scared from that.
Yeah, I definitely think that there would be more like poltergeisty type things, right?
Yeah.
That could happen with those type entities. So
who knows? I mean, and you don't know unless you're there.
Hey, and Barry was scared, so he's like, I'm leaving. I can't deal with this shit. Hey, it's 2-for-1 at the pub.
Okay, you pussy. Go to the pub. Get drunk.
He's like, I get to get shit-faced.
No, you know what the word they used over there is pissed. They like to get pissed.
They like to get pissed.
It means they got drunk. Yep.
Hopefully they don't get pissed on. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next.
The season 2 premiere of the A&E Ghost Hunters reboot, co-lead investigator Kristen Luman takes an awful fall down the stairs of the Clifton Hotel in Clifton, Arizona. It could just be an accident, but Luman's fall doesn't feel like your standard staircase tumble, and when the town's history is added in, it becomes even more suspect. Clifton is an old mining town with a bit of a haunted past. When the TAPS crew calls a town hall meeting to gather stories of the paranormal from the locals, almost everyone that shows up has their own paranormal experience to share.
Hey, that guy right there looks hilarious. He's like, here, watch this guy right here.
Almost everyone that shows up.
This guy's like, yeah, I got up. Someone touched my butt.
Yeah.
Someone slapped me on the ass.
It was quite scary.
So he looks like someone slapped me in the ass.
And he's like, I know it wasn't the mistress because she don't touch me no more.
Right? Hey, she ain't got no hands.
That Clifton looks like it could have been New Mexico, dude. Did you see the way that looked?
You're absolutely right. That's exactly what I thought. I thought definitely like a northern New Mexico.
That looked like Pecos River right there, dude.
Mm-hmm. Let's check it out.
Has their own paranormal experience to share, making Clifton a hotspot for either mass hallucination or mass spectral activity.
How many people?
Hey, that girl don't look like. Let me show you this one, man.
Or mass spectral.
What's
that
the
girl
one?
Right there, that girl looked like she'd been hitting the meth a little bit.
A little bit. Did you see the one was still wearing her hairnet? Take your hairnet off. You're not at work anymore.
The hairnet. I didn't see the one to see.
There's like a chick with a hairnet.
This one?
No, keep going. Back.
Nation or mass to share, making Clifton a hotspot for either.
What was she doing wearing a hairnet? Did you see it? Did you catch it?
Yeah, this one over here.
The TAPS crew calls a town hall meeting to gather stories of the paranormal from the locals. Almost everyone that shows up has their own paranormal experience to share, making
that one. What is she thinking?
She's like, hey, I was flipping tortillas all day long, and now, I want to talk about my ghost encounter.
Why not? Why does she still have her hairnet on?
Hey, that town meeting must have been nuts.
I don't know, man. That must have been pretty nuts. Yeah, right there, because he's going to talk.
And he was probably like, I don't know about ghosts, but goddamn, some of y'all look like y'all just got off work.
Some of you guys are
mass spectral activity.
How many people in this room believe they've had a paranormal experience?
Damn!
Townsfolk claim to hear mining activity and the sounds of children roaming the town at night. And when Taps asks the less than living inhabitants of the hotel about the activity, they hear voices respond. It's creepy, but not as creepy as what happens next. Later in the episode, Lumen is walking down the hotel stairs when suddenly she's sent flying. Not falling, flying. She later said that she knows she didn't trip, nor did she feel a sensation like she was pushed. But the co-lead investigator clears most of a flight without hitting a single step. Luckily, she escaped without serious injuries.
See, something like that though, like, you know, especially for like TV, right? They're like, oh, well, you could act that you fell down the stairs, right?
Yeah.
And make it like dramatic. So like stuff like that's kind of like hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. You don't really know if it's the truth or if it's just, yeah.
For ratings, you know what I'm saying?
I seem to remember in the early days with this show too, there was a lot of fluff mixed into the harder, cooler shit.
Well, you know, some of the stuff that they found, right, I think is a little more believable. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're right, there was fluff in it, but they were trying to disprove to see if it was haunted, right? So I'm not saying that they couldn't have, like, you know, exaggerated what happened, but a lot of the cool stuff they caught, they were trying to debunk it first. And then when they couldn't debunk it, they were like, okay, we got to take this seriously. So that's something that I did like about Ghost.
Yeah, that's something kind of different. That's kind of different than like Zach's Ghost Hunters or they, you know, Zach just goes in thinking, oh, this place, you know, he goes in without a kind of cynical
critique.
Mind. Yeah.
No critique.
He needs some cynicism. And these guys did. They definitely did.
All right, let's check the next one.
In the Season 10 episode, Darker Learning, the TAPS crew catches an apparition on a thermal camera while investigating the Everett Mansion on the Southern Vermont College campus. The figure walks through two doors right in front of them, which is something living people with heat signatures do all the time, but there was a problem. Besides no living people being in that area of the building, both the door the human-shaped heat signature walks out of and the one they walk into are locked. It's believed by some that Edward Everett's wife and their children's nanny took their own lives in the mansion, which is more than enough to provide fuel to any preternatural fire. And the thermal specter the crew catches on camera falls well in line with previous sightings within the home, cool. Including accounts of a lady in white and other female apparitions walking the premises.
That was clearly maybe, someone walking.
Just maybe, this heat.
What I think is interesting is that you can actually see the reflection. You know, so that's kind of interesting right there. Again, you know, it's hard to tell because again, anything could happen, right? Like anybody could just walk across and be like, "Oh, it's a ghost." So I don't know. I just think it's interesting that it has a reflection look.
Yeah, it does. Well, they said that those doors were locked. So unless they're lying.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a strange one.
Signature is the wandering soul of one of these tragically deceased ladies. In the Season 1 episode titled The Armory, the Ghost Hunters team investigates reports at a castle-like building in Massachusetts that operated as a facility for the National Guard for the majority of its existence. Soldiers lived and learned there, and some of those folks would leave the building only to die in battle shortly after, making it a prime spot for their restless spirits to return to. It was their last point of safety before the chaos of war or the danger of a disaster at home ended their lives. And just because this building was once a safe space doesn't mean the deceased soldiers are happy to be there. One of TAP's members finds this out the hard way. While walking a catwalk in the building, Frank DeAngelis, one of the show's sound guys, gets knocked backward by what he claimed to be an entity passing straight through his body. DeAngelis was so shaken by the experience, he required medical assistance afterwards.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, he was so traumatized that he eventually quit the show. As the crew investigates claims of spectral children in an old Victorian manor.
Weird.
So to go back to this one, and they didn't show it, but what was cool about this incident is they have video of this bag, of his bag, going straight up and hitting him in the face.
What?
Yeah, so this one's a really cool one. I remember this one. So they're walking, right? And his bag that he has in front of him actually comes up because he has, like, has the sound equipment and everything. His bag just goes straight up and pops him in the face, and then he gets pushed back. It's
weird.
Fucking nuts. So that one's a cool one. We're going to have to find a link for that.
Yeah,
one.
I'm going to have to find that one. That one does sound cool.
And,
and it's got to be weird feeling a ghost go through your body, right?
Yeah, it's what's cool about it is that when you see him like walking, right, the guy catches his bag going straight up. It's not like it's swinging, but it actually goes straight up and pops him underneath the chin, and then you can see him fly back, which is really crazy. So that's a really good one. All right, let's check another one.
Actually quit the show. As the crew investigates claims of spectral children in an old Victorian manor in Season 11's Manor of Mystery, a couple of the TAPS guys ask the supposed ghost children if they want to play, which is creepy enough by itself. Then, after feeling a cold spot in a doorway, they ask the spirits if they are capable of moving objects, and the door behind them opens on its own. This is the point when viewers get off their couches to make sure all their doors are firmly latched. But it isn't only the moving door that makes this investigation eerie. The spirits within the manor seem to respond to the crew through several methods of communication, including responses to questions via a phone app that beeps when touched. There is also an unexplained thermal signature in a chair next to the crew, suggesting these specters aren't afraid to get close. Louisville, Kentucky's
like when it comes to like when they use the lights to communicate, I'm also a little bit skeptical of that sometimes because, again, right, it's for TV and they need the ratings, right? Let's say they go to a house that doesn't have any type of evidence. What kind of ratings are they going to get, right?
Well, I would assume that show wouldn't make the cut. I would assume they have. I would hope that they have like 3 or 4 for every episode that makes it. They might have 2 or 3 locations that were bunk.
Yeah. So like, well, I think a lot of the places that they go, they know that they're super haunted, right? So there might be some evidence, there might not be any evidence, but especially with like the lights and stuff like that. I'm a little skeptical about.
Do you think they could initiate them from somewhere?
Yeah, because I was just thinking about it. Like, imagine being advertised, "Hey, there's tacos here," and then you get there ain't no tacos, right? You'd be pissed. You'd be like, "What the fuck? That's false advertising."
Yeah, there were no ghosts.
Ain't no goddamn.
Next
ghosts
time I'm
yet.
calling the Ghostbusters because they're guaranteed ghosts,
right?
Waverly Hills Sanatorium is believed to be one of the most haunted places in the state, if not the entire United States. Since it's such a notoriously haunted location, the TAPS crew at Ghost Hunters had no choice but to check it out during episode 14 of the 2nd season. This particular haunted location has a wealth of claims covering just about every type of paranormal activity known to man, and TAPS was lucky to catch some evidence of their own. During their investigation, the crew catches a 3-foot shape on thermal imaging that they believe to be the spirit of a child, as well as an object that flashes across their camera in the same location.
What's cool about that one, it actually looks like a ball, not like a person.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can rewind it to the fact where the ball's at. Let's see.
As an object that flashes across their camera.
See, look, it actually looks like it's like a floating ball.
Yeah.
That is weird.
That is some pretty. And look at how red it is. That's hot.
In the same location,
it actually looks like a mist or a cloud.
Yeah, that's got heat inside of it.
Mm-hmm. Team also comes across a different entity that looks like a bat-like creature flying through the sanatorium's walls. Through the entire episode, apparitions of different types seem to show themselves to most of the crew, but in a location with this much history, it isn't surprising for a ghost or two to show their ethereal faces.
And specifically when you're dealing with like a sanatorium where people are, thrown there or put there because people don't want them, or they're crazy, or they committed crimes. That's just like a hotbed for like paranormal society or paranormal events, right, to happen.
Well, think of the violence that has happened in those things, whether it's violence against the inmates, violence of the inmates on inmates, violence on inmate on doctor, violence even in maybe some of those crazy deranged individuals talking about the things they've done, to other human beings that are, so all of that just crazy energy just absorbs into that place.
Mixed together,
Yep.
All right. Hey, that's such a good movie, by the way, The Shining.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Did you see the second one? The
Dr. Sleep?
Yes.
Yeah, it was good too. I was sort of expecting it to suck, but it didn't suck, dude. It was good.
It was. I agree. I liked
watching them go back to the hotel too, to the Overlook. That was cool. I felt like I was revisiting an old friend or something. You know what I mean? Because I've seen The Shining so many times.
And that black dude played the other black dude very well at the original.
Yeah,
like he was very similar.
They did a great job with the casting. I loved all the actors. It was, and I really got to give McGregor some credit too. When I knew that he was casting it, I was like, oh, it's going to be your classic. Ewan McGregor's the good guy, and blah blah. But but you know what I mean? Like he kind of plays those kind of nice guy roles. But he was really good. He did a good job with it. I really enjoyed it. I think that'd be a great like Halloween night double feature. Watch The Shining and then watch the second one.
Back to back.
Back to back. Yep.
I agree. All right, let's continue.
Stephen King based the haunted hotel in his terrifying novel The Shining on the real-life Stanley Hotel in Colorado. It turns out the place has its own haunted history. Guests of the hotel have reported seeing apparitions throughout the halls, feeling spirits sit on their beds, seeing ghost children playing on the 4th floor, and even having spectral entities walk up and steal their jewelry. TAPS investigates the hotel during a special live investigation in Season 3 of Ghost Hunters called Best of the Stanley Hotel, and some of the evidence they find confirms claims echoed by former guests. In the spirit of King's story, members of the TAPS crew hear sound.
They were drinking shots of tequila and he dropped. He's like, "What the freak? That must have been the freaking ghost." Nah, that's the tequila hitting you there, Grant.
Yeah, that's you a little drunk there, buddy.
Hey, that Colorado devil's weed's hitting him.
It's kicking in right then.
Sounds of music flowing from unoccupied rooms, bringing back visions of Jack Nicholson partying it up in the ghost bar before going insane.
I would love to go.
Really mild occurrence.
Hotel. Gabe. Have you been there? When did you go?
I had gone with my parents probably about 6 years ago.
Did you stay there?
We didn't stay there. We just went to go visit it. It was absolutely incredible. It's beautiful, man. Like especially like in the back end of the hotel, they have like an eatery and they have like a waterfall. I mean, it's really nice.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did you go? Did you take the ghost tour? Because I think they do ghost tours, don't they?
No, I didn't take the ghost tour. We just went inside and checked it out, took some photos, went to a couple of the rooms. Then we went to the back and stuff like that. But man, it was gorgeous. Like especially like in the front too. It looks like a little maze, you know, of where the bushes are at and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
That's cool, man. I'd love to go there one day.
Yeah, the scenery is gorgeous, man. You'll like it. Lots of mountains.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue.
That seems to catch the crew's attention is the clear sound of a woman saying hello, caught on their recording equipment. The team hears this in person as well.
Especially in the place that they're at. Look at that.
Yeah, who's going to be there?
Hey, homeless person?
Maybe. But all the way up there, well, I guess they could panhandle on the streets there.
Right? Well, you know, it's pretty far away from like the highway. It's not like super far away from the highway, but it's a little ways, you know, to go up there. I'm sure somebody would have noticed, right? Like,
yeah, someone.
Hey, you're not a guest here.
Yeah, they're squatting in underneath the building. Hello.
Hey, the lizard is exquisite tonight. Oh, that's funny.
Well, and honestly, team member Jason Hawes seems pretty confused when it happens. But it's the sound of laughter they find during their evidence review that really creeps them out. To be fair, it creeps us out too. When the TAPS van set off,
I don't know what the hell that was.
Connecticut.
It sounded like a little girl like
squealing
or doing something, right? Like
squealing.
That's what it sounded like.
It sounded like a squeal.
Here, let's listen to that again. Let's see.
But it's the sound of laughter they find during their evidence review that really creeps them out. To be
That's weird. You know what it sounds like? Like when you like the little dolls and you pull the string.
Oh yeah, and it's got like a it's like a scratchy. Yeah,
that's what it kind of sounds like to me.
That one's freaky.
Fair, it creeps us out too. When the TAPS van set off for Long Island Sound, Connecticut, at the beginning of the Season 1 episode Race Rock Lighthouse, things get off to a rough start as one of the crew members almost forgets the team's folding chairs. The chairs are found, and the crew turns out to have an exciting investigation because of it. According to the crew, the lighthouse has had 8 documented shipwrecks at its shores and a whirling undertow that would prove deadly to any sailor caught in its waters. Lighthouses have been viewed as paranormal venues for much of their history, and Race Rock is no exception. Over the years, it's built up a portfolio of haunted phenomena.
That place looks haunted, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to spend the night there.
I could see like a little ghost like, hi, how you doing?
Come visit me. Come visit me.
We've got something for you to eat.
No, Dave, they would see me and they'd go, that's that guy that wants violence. Guess we're going to have fun tonight.
Hey, he collects comics.
Yeah. He's going to see a superhero. Or no, he's going to be screaming for a superhero here soon.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, that alien's going to be like, oh, man, we got probed. Yeah, you got tapped.
Yeah, they got tapped.
That's funny.
Spectral sounds and sightings to disembodied wet footprints climbing the lighthouse steps. The most hair-raising thing to happen in the episode comes after Grant Wilson leaves his nearly forgotten chair in an empty room. A camera placed in the room catches video of the chair being pulled across the floor by an invisible entity. This could be explained away by a wire trick or stealthy string pull, but so far no one has come forward to disprove it. So let's chalk it up to creepy and leave it at that.
I think anytime you can capture stuff like that, especially when there's, supposedly nobody around, I think that's some of the coolest evidence because, there's no variable there to create that, but whatever, haunting or energy is actually trying to do that.
Yeah, because it's just the camera, the entity, and that's it. There's no, and I've thought this too sometimes. You have to think that, some spirits, a lot of them at least, would kind of like animals, wild animals. When they see people, they would just like take off from them, you know what I mean? Or just not. The other interesting thing that I've always thought is sometimes these ghosts you know, like you've seen that movie, The Others, with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Where they thought that they were being haunted by ghosts and they were actually the ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say a lot of times that some of these spirits and paranormal phenomena might be people that are just stuck in this like loop of their death or in whatever, and they're just kind of living it out constantly
Mm-hmm.
in their own form of their own hell on earth, right? And in these abandoned places, they're just they can sit there and do that, you know, a lot, and then, you know, all of a sudden there's new energy and people and movement. To them, that might freak them out. I mean, they might not know they're dead. So like some of these interactions, I don't know, like we don't know that the spirit is actually trying to scare them. You know, if you set up a camera in one of these places and kept it going every day, 24 hours for a year, let's say, you might have freaky shit that happens. There's not anyone around that necessarily cares about it. Do you know what I mean? It's just like the energy replaying itself, or just moving around it wherever it's space, and it's not even necessarily trying to communicate or anything like that. And I could see some of these places, depending on the spirit or the entity, of course, when people get thrown involved and it's not used to a lot of people, it just stops, right? So
you know one thing I think is curious, right, is we have animal bones from, you know, dinosaurs, from woolly mammoths. You know, we know that these creatures existed.
Yep.
But why is it that we don't see any type of their spiritual when we've actually seen, you know, on our own podcast, spirits of animals, you know, staying around? What's happened to those energies?
Maybe because we're looking at time frames that are so long that those energies have already been. Think of it almost like a pool that's like totally quiet, like a thing of glass, right? Over time, those energies, you know, they just either dissipate or they move on into whatever that energy is getting recycled into. You know what I mean? Whereas, you know, in the grand scheme of timelines of, you know, I would call that prehistoric history. You know, 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years is like a blink of an eye, right? So I would assume that a lot of those energies of dinosaurs or just other even creatures, when you start getting out into those lengths, it just, you know, it becomes so old. But see, that's the other interesting thing. How do we not know that some long-lasting energies of haunted places have been like that since the time of the dinosaurs? We don't know. And
you know,
who knows?
Even some of our ancestors, our early ancestors, right before Cro-Magnon men, right? Where are there, like the Neanderthal, right? Where would their ghosts be?
I don't know.
Has there ever been a sighting of a Neanderthal ghost?
It'd be hard. I mean, you'd have to. Well, you could tell he's a one ugly motherfucker in his face. So I doubt.
Look at the eyebrows on that one, right?
Yeah, you'd be like, I was a human ghost, but man, that dude's got some problems.
Hey, ugly.
Yeah, that's what you call a two-bagger right there. You're gonna put a bag on that.
Right? Hey, even the aliens are like this.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we saw the Neanderthal. Stinky, really bad.
Hey, no probe for him.
Yeah, we save our probes for at least, you know, somewhat clean. These modern humans are much nicer to probe. They're probably
right. Hey,
well, and the Neanderthals were strong, so you fucking piss off a Neanderthal, you're a little tiny alien with little tiny arms and legs. You know what I mean? You don't want to fuck around with a Neanderthal, right?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, humans are easy compared to Neanderthals. Neanderthals, they think, what were they saying? I read something. They were thinking they were like, if you took their body mass and their index and the muscle, like, not only could those motherfuckers lift, but they had huge jaws, dude. The bite force on a Neanderthal is way more than a human too, I believe. Like they're just, think about them. You do not want to fuck around with them. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of our early human ancestors that tangled with some Neanderthals, it was one of those fuck around and find out type of situations, I'm sure.
Well, there is evidence, right? And I believe it's in southern Spain that Cro-Magnon man and Neanderthals, to some extent, intermixed.
Interbred, yeah.
Interbred. So, maybe that.
Hey, that modern or that human guy, right? I forget. Homo erectus. Homo erectus dude was like, dude, you ever had a Neanderthal chick? He's like, his homie's like, no. He's like, they're crazy, man.
Hey, you're gonna need some of them mushrooms over there. Go eat those first.
Yeah, go eat some mushrooms first. But I gotta tell you, you see that scar right there? There's like a big old bite mark or something. It's like that's from a Neanderthal leg. Don't fuck around.
They always have parties Friday nights. It's nuts.
They party Friday, at their cave. Don't go to that cave expecting, But if you get lucky, you're gonna get beat up. It's gonna be a night of your life.
Hey, and don't even get me started with their brothers. Okay, I met her brothers.
I've met her brothers, and I don't know. It's. You're right though. Where are those ghosts? Well, maybe they're there, but they're just not. Scientists are around those areas, and they're not looking at things. They're not looking for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like what would happen to these energies? Because we know we have the bones. Yeah. So did they not have a soul? Did they not have energy? Did they, what made them different from us?
They had to have, dude. They had to have had, I think, a soul, in the sense that because we've seen animals, because I can tell you with my little doggy, when he looks into my eyes, he's looking into my soul. And there's another little soul in there looking back at me. So animals, I believe animals can have souls. I don't agree with the traditional Christian reality of that. But Gabe, I think time frame really fuck, man. Neanderthals died out what? 40, 50,000 years ago? That's a long ass time. And dinosaurs way longer than that. Millions. You ain't gonna see no dinosaur ghosts anytime soon. That energy of that pool of water, right? That rock that got thrown in there from that death has gone, done, and chilled out long ago. I don't know, but who knows?
It's just an interesting question, right?
No, it is an interesting question, and not only, like you said, not even just Neanderthals. When you go from the early humanoids down, they believe there might have been like 30 or 40 different species. I mean, I was reading something one time where they said scientists aren't necessarily so sure they have like 50, 60, 75% gaps in our family tree of origin. That it's, that these whole other species of humanoid existed, and for whatever reason, they just either we haven't found their bones yet, or they were just they lived in an area maybe that was near the sea or wherever where it just the bones never got saved.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I don't know if there's ever been a documented case of Neanderthal ghost or anything else,
Yeah, I don't know how you would tell the difference.
That's true.
I mean, maybe on the the little machine, the voice box.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of it saying voices, they're just grunts.
Damn Neanderthals.
Reenactor Meatloaf is not the most obvious addition to.
Hey, he'll do anything for love.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Meatloaf.
But he won't do that.
Right?
He won't tap that ghost ass.
Hey, tequila. It's a hell of a drug.
A team of paranormal investigators, but the Loaf has an unmatched love for ghosts and spirits and a personality that could drive any entity out of hiding. He's also one of Ghost Hunter's favorite celebrity guests and has appeared on the show more than once. So Taps invites him to tag along while they check out Alabama's Sloss Furnace in the Season 6 episode of the same name, and he does not disappoint. Several creepy things happen throughout this 2-night investigation. At one point, when Jason Hawes, Grant Wilson, and Meatloaf are walking through the tunnels, they hear voices responding to Loaf's inquiries. Even better, they manage to catch these voices on a recording device. Knocks are also captured in response to the musicians prodding at another time, which corroborates claims from locals. At other points, Wilson feels like he's shoved by an invisible force, and an image believed to be an apparition is captured on video. The moral of the story seems to be one of two things. Either Sloss Furnace isn't the type of place you want to spend your free time, or hanging around Meatloaf can be a creepy endeavor.
I think
that's true. Meatloaf chasing after ghosts is a pretty weird combination, but okay.
That place actually looked pretty goddamn scary, though. Did you see that?
It
place?
did. No, I agree.
Like these weird, funky tunnels, and that place looked freaky, dude. I would not be surprised there's some shit there.
Yeah, especially like at the beginning, you could kind of tell, right? Like some shit goes down there, or like know what it looks like Freddy Krueger, right?
Yeah, it looks like an '80s horror flick gone bad. Like a perfect, those stupid kids go running and they just happen to run into this area or something,
and then trip. Freddy Krueger.
I mean, look at those tunnels, dude. Those are freaky.
Yeah, can you imagine walking these and not having any light?
Oh, you'd be fucked.
Shit. Hell no.
Meatloaf can be a creepy endeavor. St. Augustine Lighthouse, which Ghost Hunters visits in Season 2, is Florida's oldest lighthouse. And if you know anything about Florida's coastal waters, you know they hold the bones of hundreds of shipwrecked vessels. Naturally, this leads to ghost stories and other rumors of the paranormal that draw investigators to the area. The lighthouse in St. Augustine features the classic spiral staircase extending up the center of the tower. These spirals can be intimidating on the best of days, even when they aren't haunted, and this one proved to be both. As the crew climbs the steps, they spot an apparition looking over the rail above them. The team jumps into action, attempting to chase down whatever had been looking down at them, but they fail to find a corporeal cause. However, they do catch two different shadows on the stairs. They also manage to catch the sound of a disembodied voice crying, "Help me." Buffalo Central Terminal in Buffalo.
What's cool about this one that they didn't show, what makes this one like really awesome is, let me try to find, when they're looking straight up, they're, they can see all the tiers of the different levels, right? And what makes this one so cool is that the entity actually looks forward and you can see the shadow, and then it goes back and it looks like it jumps from one tier to the next up, and it does the same thing. It looks out.
Oh, weird.
It's fucking cool. And what's really cool about it looks like a shadow jumping to the next tier up, and you see it jump.
Weird.
It looks like a thing of smoke, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it looks over and then it goes back, and then it looks like a thing of smoke goes up into the next tier, and then it looks like that again. It is fucking awesome. That's one of my favorite ones from Ghost Hunters.
See, and that's the other weird thing too, right? If you were a ghost and you were walking around, you wouldn't, if you thought you were still alive, you wouldn't be jumping all crazy and doing walking through doors and shit. You would be acting like you were alive, I would think. So with that kind of thing, that might not be a ghost. That might be an entity.
Might be. Well, what's interesting too is that it was asking for help, right? So maybe it was trying to either like lure them in, or maybe it was just trying to get somebody to help it move on,
Yeah, who knows?
But that's a good one too. All right, let's do the last one.
A disembodied voice crying, "Help me." Buffalo Central Terminal in Buffalo, New York, saw thousands of travelers come through its station in the 50 years it was open. and though it closed down in 1979, not all of those travelers have vacated its premises. Some, it seems, are eternally waiting for trains that may never come. It's why Ghost Hunters liked the location so much they've filmed there 3 different times, and each time they find something new that keeps them interested. But it's during their first investigation in Season 4's Speaking with the Dead that the TAPS crew finds their most chilling evidence of Buffalo Terminal's paranormal residents. After setting up an EMF meter, Grant Wilson and Jason Hawes appear to be speaking with an entity that lights up the meter to voice its responses. And from those EMF responses, they determine they're speaking with a woman who's been waiting since the 1940s for a loved one's train to come in. They also catch what they believe to be several voices on recorders. Some yell for them to go home, while others say cryptic things like, "Bring back the girls." The entities don't seem to be malevolent or anything, but hearing conversations between the dead is a surefire way to creep out even the most astute skeptic. Check out one of our newest...
Yeah, I would say. That's interesting. Hearing ghosts talk to each other? That's crazy.
And you know, it's weird. Why would they want humans to get away?
Again, maybe when there's human energy around, maybe it freaks them out.
Maybe they see us in a certain light too, like we see them.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying, like, just like when we're around a lot of ghosts, do we act normal and we're all chill? And no, people are screaming, and even these old school guys that do it all the time, when they see something freaky or something makes their hair stand on end because a door opened, they freak out. So who's to say that ghosts and entities, whatever, don't freak out when they're suddenly surrounded by a bunch of humans, particularly if they're in a place where there's not a lot of human activity? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's weird too. Like, why would they want to hang out in an old abandoned station like that?
Well, this is what I believe. I believe that everyone has moments in their life that had huge amounts of meaning for them. It doesn't matter what it is. Like if you were to go back and say, pick your favorite moment from, every decade. Some people's might be their wedding. Some people might be, when I went on that vacation with my family to Disneyland, and I was so excited in the airport. I think it's possible that humans, or that, as human beings, we have these snapshots in our subconscious, in our conscious, in our minds, in our history, that have so much meaning to them that if you were suddenly in this kind of ephemeral world, who's to say you wouldn't go back to some of these places or get stuck in some of these places, right? I'll give you an example. The first girl I thought that I loved was a girl by the name of Kim. And the night that her ex-boyfriend died was the night that she broke up with me, right? He died, and then, he died. It was like a 2 or 3 nights later. He died, and then like 2 or 3 nights later, she ended it with me, right? Because she really loved him. Well, that was my first real breakup that I felt like I had a lot of pain associated with it. And I remember that night that she broke up with me, going to an Allsup's, buying an Allsup's burrito and a Coke, and going and just eating it, because I didn't have anywhere else to go at the time, or I don't remember why I did this, but I just sat outside that fucking Allsup's on McGaffey in Roswell. And I remember looking up into the sky and going, why did you do this to me? To just the universe, Yeah. I loved this woman. And I remember it enough that when I went back to Roswell and was driving by there, what memory do you think popped up in my mind?
Yeah,
all the times that I put gas, all the times I put gas at that stupid Allsup's on McGaffey, or this or that, or no, it was that memory of that night. So my point is basically, I think that if maybe in the realm of death, whatever comes after, there's a possibility for your spirit to kind of revisit important things in your life, then it makes sense that a train station would be extremely important, or like we were saying, sanitariums, a home, you name it. There's probably, and how many spirits are running around places that for whatever reason people never notice? Maybe they're just completely benevolent and they're just living out their life and not punching through into this reality.
And if you were to go back and be a ghost at Allsup's, there's a lot worse places, especially because that food is delicious. The chimichangas and the burritos and the sauce.
You would have, that Allsup's, I would haunt that also. And I'm not saying that's my most important thing of my life, because it's not. But what I'm saying is that the weirdest, most just bizarre places, people, things can have meaning for people. And we wouldn't have any understanding as to why. We wouldn't really understand, why would anyone want to haunt that place? Well, maybe that place, one of that person when they were alive had a very memorable moment there, and for whatever reason they got stuck there, or somehow made their way back there. It's like I've always loved Stephen King's Carrie. The car, was it Carrie?
Yeah.
I always thought that was interesting, how an object could get haunted, and in that instance, I don't remember because it's been so long since I read the book, but could like a classic car get haunted if an owner, just lived for that car and, something?
Probably.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. And how long would that energy stay on? Because I've heard stories of a crashed airplane and they've taken parts from it and put on other airplanes, and guess what happens? It becomes haunted.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. We don't know how that shit works. Where either an entity, either a ghost, someone that was alive somehow gets connected to some object, place, thing, person, that's another interesting thing that I don't think gets talked about enough. People always say, that whole guardian angel thing, where they say, oh, well, your grandma must have been there and helped you make it through that, 5 seconds before that thing was going to happen or whatnot. How many good hauntings are going on that we don't even know because they don't want to scare you. They're just connected to you. And for all we know, Grandma Gallegos is hanging out with me, and every time I stay up till 3 a.m. or 2 a.m, she's like, go to bed.
Malcriado.
And she's like, what are you doing up? Go to bed. And she's thinking that, but it's not. Maybe she doesn't have the energy wise for me to hear it, or those weird times that you're like. I'll give you another example. At night, I'll be watching TV, and I'll just hear a noise in the kitchen, like someone's in there. And there's no one there. Let's go back to your thing. What if that was someone, a loved one, like doing everything they could to just scream, because they're like, no, don't, maybe they're afraid that, stop doing this or stop doing that. And on our side, we just register it as like just a little tick,
noise,
just a little noise, or just a little, is someone here, and on their end, they're just like, they're doing everything they can
to get your attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would love to continue this conversation because there's so much that we can get into the adeptness. We'll have to continue this. I like this.
Yeah, we can continue to, kind of navigate and debate the rules of the afterlife.
Maybe that's what we'll call it. The rules.
Because that's the question, right? Just like there's rules in our reality, current reality, right? Gravity. Acidity, alkalinity, there's just rules, right? Are there rules in an afterlife if there's stuff going on like energy wise or crazy?
But in our reality, rules are made to be broken.
That's true. that human that was hooking up with that Neanderthal chick. I'm not supposed to do this, but this chick crazy and I like it.
Hey, Party time.
Yeah, he's like, party time. Anyway, bro, this has been fun.
Damn right. All right, this has been episode 33. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.